Welcome to the Ref Room, hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
With your hosts, Smokin, Silz, and Brad Baumruck.
Live.
The Ref Room starts right now.
And now your host.
All right, what's up, everybody? It is I, Smokin, Silz, along with my man, Brad Baumruck. We are here coming to you from Chicago and distant suburbs, I guess.
Yeah,
how you doing, Brad? What's going on, buddy? We took a week off. I hope you had a nice little break there from the holiday.
I did.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Lots going on in the NHL. I can tell you that this week.
Yeah, I know. They're decimating the Blackhawks, I believe. Isn't there some breaking news now? Or they're trying to make another trade? Is that accurate?
Yeah, it sounds like it. But it's, coming from the player this time, it sounds like.
Yeah, and who is that player?
Well, I think everybody can guess. I mean, Patrick Kane would be the one that would be the most obvious to me. I mean,
so where does he want to go? He's got a no trade clause, so he's got to select the team. He's requesting it now, so he doesn't want to be here playing with nobody.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not my department. It's above my pay grade.
So Panarin's in New York, right? Is he in New York or is he in Columbus?
So yeah.
No, he's in New York.
I think he's. I can't remember.
I'm not sure. If you guys know, put it in the comments. But maybe that would make sense for him to go to the East Coast if that was the case. I mean, I don't know that he'd want to go to Buffalo because I don't think Buffalo's got much of a team. So I think that's probably a problem right there for him because he's going to want to go make a run for the couple years he's got left.
Mm-hmm. The question
is, what can the Hawks get for him is the big thing. Are they going to take draft picks, or are they going to get some players already? I guess they're going to want draft picks.
I think it's going to be a lot of draft picks, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You got to rebuild sooner or later, right?
We've got a special guest with us today, and he's actually he works in the East Coast League. So let's bring him in right now, and that is my man Shane Gustafson joins us live on the Ref Room.
What's
Shane,
going
what
on,
do you
fellas?
think about Mr. Kane wanting to leave town?
Well, rumor mill is that it's going to be the New York Rangers, is what I heard. Like you said, Scott.
Is Panarin playing for the Rangers? Because that would make a lot of sense to put those two back together. I would think he'd want to go where he can make an impact and he's got somebody he wants to play with.
That's what I think. I mean, based on their recent trades, it's smart of him to kind of look to jump ship here, and I think that'd be a good place for him too. Because he's from Buffalo, so he's from New York too, so it'd be closer to home as well.
Yeah, we always speculated that if Buffalo made a run, that he would be willing to go there as a last-minute deal in order to get some more draft picks or something for the Blackhawks to give him a shot at a playoff run in his hometown. But this is probably the next best thing. If he goes to New York, he's close enough. He'll be a fan favorite, obviously, because he's from the area. And
yeah, and
Panarin's there. I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, they had a really good run this year too. So I mean, they're a strong team, and I think he's going to have more success there than if he stays in Chicago. So
yeah, I'm sure. What team wouldn't want him?
Chicago,
basically,
I'm sorry.
Besides Chicago,
Sorry, Chicago
Yeah.
is just gonna be. It's gonna be an interesting season, a very long one.
It's an interesting rebuild strategy.
Dresses your own seat night.
well, I think they've got to absolutely
gotta do
bottom out.
something.
Like, there's no hope for even thinking about trying to add some players this year and have something going on, because I think that would just be a waste of money. There's some good candidates out there that are available. I mean, Kadri, who I always liked from Toronto, I always say that, but Johnny Gaudreau's available. I mean, I was just looking at the list. There's a lot of guys that are available. Like, they had the top 20 up there, and there's some big names. But I think there's no point in doing anything other than saving money and getting as many draft picks as you can, and then at some point it's time to jump in and see if you're ready to go. This is not going to be the year for that.
Yep. Picks. They did a good job during the draft, trading around and getting some picks, and so I was like, wow, they're really aggressive this year because they moved a lot of pieces.
Well, it's interesting because they took the Toronto goaltender, but the top Toronto goaltender is one of the top 20 free agents that's available, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So, is he the better goaltender?
Did you see
or did they
Fleury
take
just
the?
signed a contract with the Wild?
No,
I did see that.
Did you see that?
good for him.
Yeah, he just signed a 2-year contract with the Wild. I thought he wasn't going to play anywhere else.
Hey, there's nothing else to do after golf season, Now, if you guys are here, I don't know. I'm hearing it in my headphones. We're feeding back a little bit. I'm hearing myself on a delay. Thank you, Brad.
Brad's
I'm
fault.
putting you out there today. I'm just going to crucify you for not
I'm
having
going
your
to tell you, I
earbuds.
think we're also very delayed. I think we're also very delayed on time with each other, too,
Yeah,
between
that
me
could
and
be.
you.
It's possible. It's the internet. It happens. Anyway, Shane, what's your thoughts? I mean, what did you think of the whole playoff run, and what do you think of what the Hawks are doing right now?
I mean, I didn't watch too much of the regular season. All I know is the Hawks didn't have the best season, but the playoffs were. I mean, I thought they were really entertaining. I mean, it's interesting to see the Tampa Bay Lightning, in a salary cap era, make a third straight Stanley Cup, and to see the Avalanche come in and give them a run for their money and win the cup. It was really exciting. I think it was good for the game, and it's good to have different markets that haven't been in the Stanley Cup in the last couple of years. I think that helps the league, and I think it was extremely entertaining. And I'm excited to see kind of what next year has in store for sure.
Well, I think with the Colorado Avalanche doing as well as they did and winning the Stanley Cup, I think they've pretty much now set the bar for how you rebuild. And
Oh, yeah.
their rebuild was you win 20 games in a year, and everybody asks to fire the coach, and you stay with him, and yet he was a high school varsity coach that's got that team. And you roll with him, and you just got to suck it up and stay. And I think the Hawks started to do that without really cleaning house when they brought their other coach in, Jeremy, and that didn't work out. And now they've just decided they're going to decimate the team like Colorado did and go from there, I guess. So
yeah, I think it was really cool to see specifically those two coaches, just because they both came up, they both had ties in the ECHL, the American Hockey League. Cooper started in the USHL and worked up through the minor pro leagues. And it's cool to see them, have success at each level that they're coaching in.
Cooper coached in the North American League in St. Louis.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought he
Before he
started there
got
too,
to the
because then he was in
USHL.
Green Bay. Yeah.
see, now you know why Brad
Yeah,
doesn't
he was in
feed back,
Green Bay.
because it's Brad causing all the feedback. So Brad, do me a favor. Can you mute your microphone and your computer like when you're not talking? You have to, well, when you talk, you have to take it off mute, okay? Because, Anthony's chiming in. He says, yeah, we're hearing it. There's an echo. Yeah, I know that. Sorry about that, Anthony. Anthony also said, I think Fleury wanted some stability for his family, and that would be his guess. So, 2 years. I mean, if that's stability, he was in Pittsburgh for a long time. He comes to Chicago. Could he have stayed here a couple more years? I don't think he wanted to really stay in Chicago any longer, especially if there's going to be a rebuild. I think everybody's going to want to get out. I mean, we're paying Duncan Keith, we're paying like $5 million of that salary cap this year or the next 2 years. Taves, it's the elephant in the room. Will they send him somewhere? Will somebody take him at this point in his career? Maybe, maybe not.
With
Don't
all
know.
his injuries and all that, Scott, are you confident with him?
Oh, I wouldn't be telling you. I'd be
you're
doing the
investing a
Seabrook
lot
thing
of-
with him personally. And, I love him. I think he did a great job here. He's an awesome player, awesome talent. But I think now it's time to either, maybe share some of his knowledge and wealth with this team that's going to come aboard now with the youngsters for a year. And you're a third line center and, we move on from there. That's probably my guess, unless he can get on a team that needs a center for a run, good fourth line center. Anybody else thoughts on that? I'm not being mean. I mean, I love Johnny Taves, and he's done a great job. He's been an amazing player for the Hawks and an amazing captain. But I did just call him out.
Pounded him down from the second line to the third line to all the way to the
All the way
fourth.
to the fourth line.
You just took him rung by rung and just basically said, I was thinking about it the whole time I was talking. He's a
fourth line center now, right? He's definitely not a first or second line center, that's for sure. Maybe he's a third line center.
Yeah, I think you kind of shift in your career. You can start out as the star player, but I think as you get older, it's tough to, remain that healthy and that good for that long. So, I mean, maybe if he can, instill that in some of the younger guys, I think that might be his role now and where he's at in his career. And there, nothing wrong with that, but I guess we'll see.
Well, I don't know how this works in the NHL. Maybe you guys that are out there watching the show know a little bit better, but let's say if he was to retire, what happens to the salary cap in that situation? Does that become a benefit to the Hawks where if he retires, I mean, they could give him a front office job, still end up paying him money that, from the contract. Does that take some salary cap off the table? Not that it's a big deal right now because they're not going to be buying anybody that's going to cost them anything for the next couple seasons anyway. All right. We got a comment here from Mark Bialko. What's up, Mark? Taves is done. China Doll, always hurt. He has a little to no value at $10 million a season. Hawks are stuck with him. Yeah. Do you think that's a $10 million center you've got? It's an expensive fourth line center is what it is at best. So that's why I'm saying I wonder if there's a way.
You're paying him for the player he was, and you're on the back end. As a gratitude, you're still rewarding him on the other side. There's more he can do.
Yeah.
That's a tough
what would
part
you like
with
to
these
see
long
his role be?
contracts. Yeah.
What would you like to see his role as?
Me?
Well, I was talking to Brad and you. Either one of you. Brad will just nod his head so he doesn't echo, but go ahead.
Go ahead, Brad.
I think he'd be a good candidate to go to like a team with a younger captain and guide them through some of it, because there was some stuff, I'm sure that he looks back that he could have done differently. Because they do that with a lot of players in the NHL near the end. You'll have a super young captain, and they'll bring in somebody that was either an alternate or a captain, and they play like on the third line, but that's pretty much what it is. They're there to help them get through that hump and get all the players' respect and how they can go about some things. So I think that's probably his best role
I agree with that, but now is he going to be on a team that's making any kind of a run that he can help those players? If they get the young guys in here now, are we just getting like temporary talent, or are we actually like, these are the guys that we're going to develop? These guys are all going to be first line superstars moving forward, because what the draft picks were like 18 years old. I don't think they're really ready to come to the NHL yet. So, who are you going to have? And we got a comment from Mark. He says, ambassador now for Taves. Yeah, well, they're revamping that program. Maybe they're thinking about bringing some younger blood into the ambassador program. That's a possibility, I'm pretty sure. Want to take your mic off mute there,
Shane,
Brad?
Yeah, I'm here. Shane, I wanted to know. So we brought you on here. You work in the American League. We've talked about that before. But you got the chance to work in the ECHL finals. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little.
Yeah, no, it was very cool. So I got to work it last year. Last year was a little bit interesting because it was a COVID season, if you will. We only had about half the teams around. A lot of restrictions on how many people could be in the buildings, stuff like that. So while it was really cool to work it, it didn't quite feel at times like it was a normal Kelly Cup final. So for this season, to have everyone back, very competitive season, and then to work through the final and have two really good teams in Florida and Toledo, it was awesome. Full buildings, very, very competitive games, couple overtime heartbreak losses for, each side. It was a blast, and, something that I'm very fortunate to still be able to, work at that competitive a level with where I'm at in my life. And, I'm very, very thankful for it, for sure.
Well, for those of you who don't know Shane was one of our local officials here in Chicago for many, many years, and moved up through the ADP program. And has become just one of the best officials in the country. He works the AHL. He's working the ECHL. Just a great guy, gives back, still comes back to Chicago. I know he's going to be working with us, with IHOA this year for some of the seminars, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That's correct, yep.
Yeah, so thank you for that, because you guys can gain a lot of knowledge from Shane. He's got a lot of experience, and if you ever had the opportunity to skate with him, he's an amazing skater, amazing official. I've had the privilege of working a couple games with him during the course of my earlier portion of my career, because that was a few years back. But wow, kudos to you. And
thank you. I appreciate that. I think I like to give back, because I think a lot of times these younger officials come in and they might see some older instructors and stuff like that, and they don't always relate and think that they're, they can't see that far down the road. So to see, someone who has had success similar to their age group, or, how they are, I think it's really good for, growth, especially with the way that our numbers are, officials around the country, and just the way that, the issues that we've been facing with, abusive officials and stuff like that. So, anything I can do to try and retain even one official is, I think that's a win. So I appreciate the kind words, Scott.
Did you have any stories?
The reality of it too. Hang on. The reality of it too, Shane. I'll point this out for everybody out there. Me and Scott aren't going to be doing refereeing games forever. Somebody's got to get up and down the ice in those AAA games. So that's a big thing that a lot of people don't look at. We have a big age gap between like my age group and then down to you, Shane, like there's like 10 years, like there's like crickets. There's like no referees. So like, how do we get more referees involved, and how do we keep them involved at that age group is the big question. And I think that's what everybody's looking for in every sport, which is actually interesting. When we went to Colorado, a lot of sports actually came to ice hockey and reached out to them to see how they were successfully maintaining more officials than all these other, sports. And so it's not just ice hockey that's having the problem. It's obviously a nationwide issue. And, Canada has some areas that they have like 0 referees.
Yep.
And I don't even know how that happens, because I think you're like standard issued a pair of hockey skates when you were born in Canada. Like, I don't think they let anybody buy. So how they can't find any officials is, I can't.
Well, a lot of guys never crossed the fence, or, they weren't encouraged to try it. I think that's one of the things that's being done very well here. And even now in Chicago, we have more than the one organization, and the other organization focuses more on the mite age group. And they've opened up an opportunity for people to come try and be a referee, and without having to fork out the cost. So if you do this through, say, USA Hockey, there's maybe $100, $150 that's involved in it to try it out. May not be for everybody. You may find that out after 1 or 2 events out there. And at least this gives some people a chance to come in at a young age and try it and see if they'd like to pursue it. And then, of course, they can get registered and certified and all that good stuff and work tons of games, because there's plenty of games for them to work if they want to do it, if they're willing to put the time and the commitment into it. And, of course, that's what Brad does, and that's the ADP program. And as you develop and start to get noticed for, working hard out there and wanting to do this and enjoying it, the push is to get you to the ADP program so that you can accelerate and go to the top like Shane has. That's the goal.
Yeah, I could not have nicer things to say about the ADP, because I'll be honest, when I started officiating, I knew I could work, U16, U18 hockey, high school, stuff like that, but I didn't even know junior hockey or, anything like that. College, ACHA was in the realm of possibility. So that's really when my career kind of shifted, was when I was, around those veteran officials in the ADP and started to talk about what opportunities were out there. And I think a lot of, newer officials don't realize that those opportunities are out there. So, if anyone's out there and they're thinking, should I do it? Should I take that leap and try it? I would definitely recommend it, because, your reward is much higher than anything that could possibly go wrong. So definitely.
Well, I got a question for you, Shane, since you're,
I was just going to point out, all right, I'm telling you, this delay thing is the big
I'm
issue.
trying to keep the echo off the show.
The interesting thing is too, like making that jump, Shane, like you said, there are people in programs in all these states. A lot of states have it. If you have a bad time, you can call those people and be like, "Hey, what went wrong here?" And with how technology is nowadays, you can pull video of a live burn and watch the whole video, and then call somebody and have talking points and physically walk through the video with them. So it's an amazing different time than even when I was refereeing, because that wasn't available unless somebody came and actually physically saw you or.
Yeah, I totally agree. Video is a huge part of the level that, that I work at. We can go back and we can watch something if, we think we missed it, if we don't think we handled something correctly. And that's really the best way to learn, is to, be able to watch something and talk with your fellow officials about it. And, that's how you're going to learn. You can only read the rule book so much, but there's going to be situations that happen that aren't so black and white. So, video is huge.
We've got a comment here. As someone in the ADP, I could not be more grateful for Brad Baum and his staff, Baumruck. He's opened up more opportunities for me than I could have imagined at my age. And I don't know who sent that in, but, thank you for the nice comment. And, Brad does a great job with that program. He's very committed to it. And I think that's one of the reasons why you've seen him move up even beyond the ADP. Now he's our referee in chief. And, it's from the hard work and the amount of time that he puts in there and his dedication, and we've seen that even with, we're in our third season of this show, and he's been very committed. He thought it was going 3 weeks, and he's still here. So,
yeah, I mean that's super impressive. I was one of the. It's probably in the first 20 episodes, maybe. So definitely season 1. Yeah, and I mean I remember you guys were still kind of.
I think you were like episode 5.
Yeah, it was early, and you guys were still
super early. We had just figured out how to get the sound to work,
and we still can't get it to work apparently.
We still can.
All right, this is my fault. I'll take the blame for it. I don't know where the dang headset is. So,
all right, For those of you who don't know, he's getting his house painted, and he's misplaced everything, so he can't find anything. That's the truth. So that's the deal. So
I also took a toilet out, too, and I haven't had a chance to put that back in either. At least I didn't.
Well, at least you didn't lose that.
Hey, Scott, I think we need to change that in the bottom left to buy me a headset instead of buy me a coffee.
That's a great idea, Shane. I like that. So if you guys want to buy Brad
I'll take
some earbuds, that's these. Maybe get him 2 pair.
I'm
in case he loses one, get him 2 pair. 2 pair. Buy Brad a headset. Just put a note in there, and we'll move that money right over to his account for him to get a headset. These are about $12, I think, maybe $15.
No. When I ordered the last time, they're like 24 now.
See, inflation.
I got them the last time.
The rapper like 50 Cent, he's now called 85 Cent because of inflation. I can't take full credit for that. One of my buddies sent me that one, but it was funny. But yeah, I think I paid $11 or $12 for these pandemic days back in the day. Anyway, so Shane, I'm curious. I wanted to ask you about, the progression up. Obviously, you got into the ADP. You were very successful in the ADP, and then from the ADP. What's the next step and the stepping stones and how it worked for you to just continue to climb the ladder? Who did you reach out to? Who reached out to you? How did that work? What was the expectation from the people that were helping you? What was your expectation? Can you kind of walk us through that? Because I think a lot of people would really like to know, just like getting to the NHL. How do you get to the NHL? Well, you play AAA and then you get drafted and you go here and you go. So what is it for an official?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I worked in the ADP for a couple seasons, and I know I've probably told this story a million times, but one of my good friends that actually has since passed, Ben Allison, he was the one who got me into it. He gave me a contact at the time. Chris Allman was running the North American League, and I reached out to him there's an organization in U.S. Hockey, the Officiating Development Program, ODP. I reached out to him, went to a summer combine, the USHL combine. I think it was in Orland Park at the time, and just went with other officials who were, trying to take that next step. You work games, you get feedback from some supervisors, and I guess I impressed someone that weekend, and I was offered part-time position in the ODP working the North American 3 Hockey League, which is Tier 3 Junior, and then a little bit in the North American League, which is Tier 2. So essentially, I mean, it's very similar to a player. So you go out, you work your games, and we have officiating managers that come out and watch, kind of like scouts for players. You travel around, you go to different rinks, a lot of hours in the car. And I mean, they make it available for everyone. There's hockey all over the country, down in Texas, out in Montana, a lot in the Midwest. You can basically do it from anywhere. I did that for a couple of years. While I was in school. I went to school at Northern Illinois, was able to work, have my classes Monday through Thursday, and then left on Thursday night or Friday morning, worked games all weekend, got feedback from supervisors, and did that for a couple of years. And then, in the summer, a lot of people take it off, but USA Hockey offers a variety of camps that you can go to. Kind of the same thing. You progress up, you start at we have the Central District Camp in the Midwest. That was the first camp that I went to, and for me, it was kind of crazy because I'd never done anything like that. And you go out for a week, and it's nothing but officiating. And I probably learned more in that week than anywhere else because you're surrounded by other officials who are, trying to hone in on their craft as well. And that's all you talk about for a week. You work games, and you learn from a lot of, veteran officials. And from that, went to a couple other camps, progressed through the ranks, and, in season you're working games and getting supervisions. In the summer you're doing it, and it's kind of like a full-time job. But did that for about 4 years, graduated college, and then when you get to that, it's like a pyramid, right? So as you move up, there's less and less positions. You got to control the things that you can control, whether it be your fitness, your rule book knowledge, just going to those camps in general. The more you go to, the more you put your name and face out there, you're giving yourself the best opportunity you can. So after the ODP for a couple of years, I worked, a full-time season in the ECHL. I actually moved to where I live now in Greenville, South Carolina. Did a full-time season there, lived in Cincinnati, Ohio for the next year in the ECHL as well. And then that's when COVID kind of came and ended our season midway through. And that kind of caused my life to shift a little bit. And I'm, not quite doing it on a sole full-time basis in hockey. But I still am very involved. I still, work a full-time schedule in that league. And, it's been a wild 7 years for me, but I've learned so much, and the memories that I've made have been crazy. So anyone who is kind of newer to officiating and you don't know where to start, reach out to Brad, Scott, myself, anyone, and we'll definitely be able to point you in the right direction with who's running it, get you in contact. And you might not get that position right away, but at least your name gets out there and you can kind of know those next steps to take, because there are a lot of different avenues that you can go, whether it be college or pro or international. And there's not one right way to do it. So I would just say reach out to whoever you can, and someone will be able to, help you out. So.
Now, are you in Greenville or for business purposes too? Do you have a full-time job there, or is hockey your full-time career?
Yes.
Staying right
so
there.
I lived here full-time for hockey, moved away the next year, lived in Cincinnati. And then when COVID came, I didn't know how long hockey was going to be, down and out. So I got a very good opportunity in a real job, if you will, working at a very good company down here in Greenville. I also met my now wife living down here in my first season. So that kind of, caused me to stay down here too. But I've been very fortunate in that with my work to be able to still work a full-time schedule in the ECHL, whether that means, leaving early and having to drive a couple hours to work a game, getting back late. It's definitely a sacrifice, and it gets to be a lot at times, but I am very fortunate in that they allow me to still pursue that, because walking away from hockey is not easy and not something I ever really want to do. So to be able to do both of them, at a full-time capacity is great, because the one thing about moving away from Chicago is there's definitely a lot less hockey in South Carolina. That's for sure.
Less food too.
Yeah, exactly. But
there's got to be a lot less hockey out there. I've never really sat and thought about it, but yeah, it's a small number, I would think.
Brad, the game schedule that comes out in my area each month is probably smaller than the emails that come out when they need officials on a weekend in Chicago. Like, hey, we SOS, we need these games filled. That's about what we got in a month. So the nice thing is, though, there aren't as many officials. So you give and take, right? You got less officials, you can still work a good bit of games. But it's been cool to come down here, because being in the South, especially in Greenville, where we've got 2 rinks within an hour, the officials down here, don't have as many older mentors to look up to. So to be able to come down and share that with some of these younger officials who haven't, had as many avenues has been really, really cool and very rewarding for sure.
Yeah, I got to think you'd be running the show down there, basically, as far as skill goes. So
there's a couple guys who also work locally down here in the ECHL and American League that have done a great job over the years. But like I said, I think it's that these younger kids seeing someone similar in age to come down and to be able to tell stories of how I've been around the country has been cool. And I've seen some of them, ask me those questions about what they can do to move on. And it's cool to see more and more people from different parts of the country wanting to come in and, make officiating a career for them. So
I know I've worked a couple of the AAA games when they've had the Southeast. They're like select teams, I guess. They're players from Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. So they get together on the weekends and go to a tournament. So how often do they come into like your market? Do you get any of the, like a showcase? We call them a showcase, where a bunch of the teams come into town and they have a series of games. Do you have anything like that in South Carolina?
Yeah, I think that the way that they do it is, so when we have a team in Greenville, the Road Warriors, that used to be the name of the pro team here. So a lot of times they'll play some teams from Charlotte, which is about an hour and a half from where I'm at. A lot of teams from the Charleston area, which is 3 hours. Atlanta, which is 2. So they kind of come in, kind of like a showcase. They'll come in, they'll play 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday, and then they'll drive home Sunday. So they might come in, play a couple times, makes for some, interesting games by Saturday afternoon, depending on what happened in the games. Which is good for referees and game management, that's for sure. But it kind of like showcases. They do tournaments sometimes where, they'll come in from multiple areas and meet in Charlotte or meet in Greenville, Charleston, and they'll all kind of play each other. But these teams are definitely traveling a lot more than, in Chicago, where you've got 10 rinks within 20 minutes. So they got to drive a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty similar to that for sure.
Do you have any high school hockey down there?
Yeah, so there's Greenville High School, and then I haven't worked too many of their games because a lot of times they play on the weekends when
there's 2 teams. East,
yeah, there
East
really is
a
a very small pool of teams, but they'll play, and then we have ACHA Clemson and South Carolina. They'll play Georgia sometimes. So that's really the extent of the older hockey that you can work, because there's I think one U16 team, one U18, and then one high school. So there's only a handful of games to go around.
Is there a lot of learn to skate and a lot of development, like at the Might and Squirt age group, where you have a lot of the players wanting to play hockey, or a lot of the kids growing up wanting to jump into hockey?
There is, yeah, and they've got teams at all ages, which is good. They have, I think, I don't know if I'm 100% on this, but I think there are some in-house and there's some travel. So they do have enough players to have multiple teams and stuff like that. But I mean, I think one of the teams made it to a national tournament 2 years ago. So I mean, they do have skilled players that come out of this area. And because I remember working a couple games before they had gone to, I think it was a high school team, was going somewhere for a national tournament. So it is cool to see somewhere down here, because trust me, when I walk around and say the word hockey and someone's ears perk up a little bit, it's cool because you don't always in the South get to talk to people about it. So yeah. It's definitely a different world, but I think it is growing down here for sure.
One of our referees chimed in. He's a young guy. He says, "You want to talk about less hockey?" He's in Wyoming now. Not much going on out there.
They got the North American.
Thanks for checking in, Eric.
So they've got some Tier 3 junior in Wyoming. I think they're out in Cody. They're trying to get out that way.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that played men's league that have some Wyoming stuff on their helmets and jerseys, and I'm like, yeah, they played. I don't know if it was like college hockey or whatever, but they definitely had something going on out there, and they were pretty good players. So
yeah, very
cool. All right, well, Brad, we got a little time left here. You got anything you want to cover before? I know we've got seminars coming up and registration, and
seminars and registration. Let me tell you, get out there and register. I know it's only the 11th, so we've been open 10 days. We're low for our area, but once August 1st hits, I know it's already going to happen. So if people are having a problem finding a seminar, let us know. Our registrar, Anthony, will definitely guide you through it if you're having a problem. Just big tip.
Anthony watches the show, so you can tune in here.
That big tip for everybody: if you register your name with your middle initial on the USA Hockey website, for our website, when you register in our local area, you have to put your middle initial in it, or else it will never put you together with your USA Hockey profile, and you're gonna have nothing but problems. So just remember, if you put the middle initial in there to register that way. If you didn't put it in there, don't put it in there, because you'll have all kinds of problems. See,
what do I do in my case with my middle name?
Right. Well, yeah. Look at what Anthony just put in there too, Scott.
All right, hang on. I got to get back down to the bottom. Let's see. Anthony says all my emails are currently forwarded to Brad. Nice. It's refroombrad@gmail.com for those of you that want to send Brad some emails.
Yeah, send it over to mine. If it's hockey related for registration, adp@ihoa.com. That's the best one to get it.
Okay, there you go. All right, Shane. So, what's your season coming up looking like? Do you guys go to a training camp? When do you get started, and where are you going to be working this season? I know you work AHL, so you work the A. Are you only working in your area, or have they branched you out into some other markets as well? And what's the future like?
Yeah. So this will be my 5th year in the ECHL, in the American League. So they do have a training camp. I went the first couple seasons. Now with my role in the league and just, having a full-time job and stuff like that, it is tougher for me to get that time off. So I won't be going to training camp, but they will have one. And for my season individually, I'll do kind of similar to what I did last year. I work in Greenville, Atlanta, Charleston. And then we actually just gained a new team this season, coming down in Savannah, Georgia, the Ghost
nice.
Pirates. So it'll be cool to get a new atmosphere. Savannah's a really fun town. I think it'll be a really good market for them. So that'll be really cool. Hope to get a couple trips down there. And it's great because there is, I say there's not a lot of hockey, but to be able to go to that many rinks in 3-4 hours for pro hockey isn't bad. And then as the season goes on and playoffs, I can get to Jacksonville pretty easy. Went to Orlando a couple times, and we had the finals down in Florida. So there's 7 rinks that I can really easily get to. So I kind of look to skate a solid full-time slate again, and just continue to have fun and enjoy it. It's great to see your friends, right? They come into town and you get to skate with them for the weekend, go out and grab some dinner, grab some drinks, hang out, and tell war stories about the games that you had and stuff like that. And the cool thing for me is we have a league apartment. So the ECHL, with some of their teams being in different areas of the country, they have a league apartment where they'll have people come in and live in the area. And fortunately for me, it's in the Greenville area. So a couple guys come in and they're in the same town, and we can hang out. And one of the guys that lived here last year turned into be one of my very best friends, and we still stay in touch and we talk all the time. So it's cool because each season a new set of guys come in, and you never know who it's going to be. You get to skate with them a lot and make some really good friendships. So I'm just excited with my setup, and very fortunate that I get to still do it, and the success that I've had. So I'm excited for another season. I like this time of year because this is where all the seminars and the tests come out, and everyone has those couple months that they take off and let them recharge a little bit, and everyone starts to talk officiating and this test, these answers, and kind of talking and discussing stuff that in the middle of the season sometimes you work so much hockey you don't want to talk about it. So it's an exciting time of year, and I'm really looking forward to everything that's coming up in the next couple months.
Well, I think that's a great point, because it's definitely the learning time of the year, and everybody really enjoys that. And it does bring on a lot of camaraderie between the guys and girls that are officiating and talking about it. What do you have as far as testing goes with like the ECHL and the AHL? What do they do for you guys? Are you tested and certified each season, or do you still take the USA Hockey test? What's your like leading into the season?
Yeah, so I still register every year for USA Hockey, and for the ECHL we go to training camp. We have rules tests. Each day we might have a 5-question test, 10 questions, and it's weird situations, and it doesn't stop at that. Throughout the season we have biweekly exams on stuff that happens throughout the year. So it's good to keep your head in the rule book, because we do a lot of testing. We do physical testing at training camp, on ice and off ice, because these players, as you can see when you watch an NHL game, are freaks of nature, right? They're very athletic, and there's no excuse for an official at that level especially to not be able to keep up, right? It's that's what it boils down to. And we actually last season had our first training camp for linesmen in the American League. Normally, the American Hockey League is predominantly local linesmen, if you will. They're more regionally based. So it was cool last year. We had a training camp up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, where all the East Coast guys came in, and we had testing there. We had classroom sessions and stuff like that, which is really cool, especially for these guys who have been around for a while, and they work their handful of games each season, and for them to be able to come out and do something like that was really cool for everyone to get together. And they're doing another one actually in Chicago this coming season for the Western guys, guys out in California, Midwest teams, stuff like that. They'll be meeting in Chicago, I think in September.
Where are they doing that? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I won't be going to that one because I went to the East Coast one last year, but I think it's in one of the suburbs outside of Chicago. I want to say Hoffman Estates,
Addison.
maybe.
They're having it in Addison.
They put them all in the Addison referee room.
They're having it in Addison.
Shane, you live in Greenville, North Carolina. Tell us about the Addison locker room, please.
Oh, well, I remember, for some reason, I can remember, very distinctly that it was flooded, very small, dreary, dark.
Now we have a commitment. It's July. That in July it was getting fixed, so we're holding the York High School team to that. That it's getting taken care of. So I think it'll be fixed. I'm excited at the prospect of it. So
I do too.
That's good.
And I didn't know about the Savannah Ghost Pirates either.
Hey,
I just looked them up. It's actually a pretty interesting little logo that they got there.
Yeah, so that comes from, I guess, Savannah's supposed to be a lot of history with ghosts and hauntings and stuff like that. We went down there actually for a weekend and we did a ghost tour, and there's a lot of history there. So I think that's where it comes from. And I'm hoping that, I don't know if you've heard of the Savannah Bananas, the minor league baseball team. They have they play in, it's like a summer college league, and they do a lot of gimmicky stuff to get people in. And they sell out all their games. So I don't think it'll be that extreme, but I hope that they can kind of retain some of those fans and do some fun promotions and stuff like that to get people in, to a non-traditional hockey market. So I think it'll be really cool to see how they, kind of grow their franchise and their fan base.
Well, we rip on York a little bit, but I want to share something because, Matt was on the show, who's the varsity coach, and he's a great guy, hockey director. And he sent me and Brad an email this past week. And I said we would definitely promote this for him because they are planning their 2022 York Hockey Club golf outing, okay? So I want to read this. He said, we are excited to announce the hockey golf outing, and here's the information. It's York Hockey Golf Outing. It's Thursday, August 11th. It's going to be at White Pines Golf Course. They have two courses there. If you haven't ever been there before, it's nice golf. I highly recommend it. The cost is $150 per person or $600 for the foursome. 8:30 a.m. check-in, driving range, and continental breakfast. 10 a.m. shotgun start. 3 to 4 p.m. adult beverages. 4 to 5 p.m. raffle and dinner. Thank you, and go Dukes is what he said. So I said we'd share that. So Matt's become a good friend with the show and watches it, and he's the one that's making sure that locker room gets fixed up for us. So we're definitely gonna plug that away for Matt. Yeah. So, all right. Anything else you want to talk about, Shane? I mean, you've got lots of excitement to look forward to, and you've had you're having a great career, obviously. And anything you want to share with upcoming officials or the veteran officials?
I would just say, enjoy the journey because it goes very quick, and I think that the main thing that I realized when COVID came and kind of ended my season and shifted my whole career, you kind of take it for granted sometimes. You work a lot of hockey, and sometimes you might be burnt out. You might get that mid-season, I don't necessarily want to be here. I'm exhausted. I've been traveling a lot, stuff like that. But I think it's really easy to kind of forget how lucky we are to be out there with our friends and do something that not only is great for our health and exercise and stuff like that, but to create these stories. And I go months without seeing some of my friends that I've made in junior and pro hockey, and to sit down and say, hey, remember that happened in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or when we went to that trip in Texas, and oh my gosh, and then one thing after another, you start to rally off these different memories. It's really cool looking back, and I think I would urge a lot of people to take that leap and try it out and stick with it, because some days it might be tough, but then it's very rewarding. And I keep saying I'm gonna cut back from hockey a little bit, and every year I'm on the ice, and especially this year when I'm on the ice for that last game, and I'm watching the trophy get handed out, and I got a full arena around me, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, holy crap, how lucky am I, and how cool is this? Because not too many people get to experience it, especially from that position, and it doesn't have to be in the ECHL. It can be your local state championship game. It can be a college championship. There's so many different leagues and so many different avenues that you can take that there's
a high school rivalry game, and you will have a blast working it. Trust me.
Exactly. Yep. And don't take it. Obviously, we want to take our job too serious, but at the same time, enjoy it. If you do make a mistake or if something doesn't go right, obviously you want to take pride in it, but at the same time, learn from it, move on, and don't let it hurt your games going forward. And it'll eventually become something that you can laugh about and look back on and, cherish those memories. So definitely, try it out and see where it can take you, because you never know, where it can take you. So
wait till you get to be a best man in one of those guys' weddings, like 10 years later. Because then you see like everybody, and then you're the one sharing some of the stories. Some of them aren't appropriate for weddings.
I got married last August, and let's see, 4 of my groomsmen were only officiating related that I met through officiating or hockey. So it's cool that, it's a very tight-knit group that we have. And I think, when you're on the ice, your partners are the only people who are on your side. So you gain a different type of, respect and camaraderie for each other. And, it's a very interesting relationship that we have with each other. So I definitely agree with that, Brad, because it is cool over the years to see those thick friendships stay, for sure.
It's no different, like if you played hockey growing up, you've still got friends and you love the hockey. And as you continue to play, even through men's league or whatever, you have a lot of friends. But, for me, hockey was a lifetime activity. And to be able to come into the officiating world, gain a whole bunch of new friends and new relationships that we've forged, and to be able to continue to be a part of the game that I love so much, and to be able to, get the thrills of being actually able to go out and work so many of these really good hockey games. It's an extension of the career. And I encourage you, a lot of you guys, if you've been around the block and you played some high level hockey and you understand the game and you can skate the game, you should really consider registering to become an official. I mean, you'll love it.
Just be on the aware that it's not easy.
No,
but it's not easy, and it takes a lot of prep and thought, and you're not.
It's a commitment.
You're not just refereeing a hockey game. You're managing people and personalities at the same time while you're calling rules that are in black and white.
Yeah,
which you turn into gray.
But also
there's a gray area.
Yeah, officiating has so many different, aspects that transition to everyday life and career paths that, you don't realize it when you're on the ice, but the quick decisions you have to make, the communication with players, coaches, all of that transition into an everyday job or, relationships away from the rink. So, you might not realize it when you're out there, but just that commitment and everything that comes with it is so molding to who you are as a person, and all those different things that make you you. And I think it's a great way to build a resume and to just get life experience, for sure.
Absolutely. Well said. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up because I've got to get to a couple games.
Where are you skating?
In the city tonight. So
awesome.
Sounds like men's league.
It would be men's league, yes. I'd be happy to be on the ice. I haven't been on the ice in a couple weeks now. I mean, it's been 10 days off or something. That's the longest I've been off in a couple of years, I think, since COVID probably.
I think if I don't it's either tonight or tomorrow, one of those days I'm gonna get on my rollerblades because I'm dying. I haven't skated in like 4 weeks, so I'm like, all right, I miss it. It's starting to get a little weird.
Somebody says no, Brad. Don't go. Don't go rollerblading, or don't go from the show now. Which is it, Steve?
I'd go with the rollerblading.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. Put your elbow pads and your shin pads on, Brad.
Hey, you know what? Wrists are the biggest thing broken by adults when they were rollerblading back in the 90s.
Absolutely.
The 2000s.
Well, hey guys, I just wanted to say really quick, thanks for having me on, and I think it's really cool that you guys have stuck with this, because I think that obviously the name Ref Room is very fitting for what this show is, because, you know, getting in that locker room, especially, you know, I remember when I worked in Chicago all those years ago, you come in and you see 8 to 10 people, you know, all squeezed in, and everyone's yelling over each other, telling stories. And that was one of the best parts of the job. So this is something that, you know, even though it's virtual and over the computer, to sit here and talk hockey and, you know, with people all over the country and talk about stories and just learn off of each other, it's really cool. So I, you know, commend you guys for sure. And, you know, definitely stay with it, because I know a lot of people out there are very grateful that you guys still do it. So
appreciate it. We still banter here a little bit too, just like a Ref Room. I mean,
exactly. It's a very fitting name. I love it.
We crush stones here, you know. Brad got his crushed a couple times today. I'm sure I'm going to pay for that later.
Yep.
He unmuted for that. All right. Well, Shane, thank you so much for doing this and taking time out of your busy schedule. We greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate all that you do for hockey. We'll look forward to seeing you on some of the seminars here in the Chicagoland area. If you guys haven't registered for the seminars, please do so. Shane could be your lead instructor. He could teach you a lot of valuable information. So, you know, it's a great opportunity for him to give back, and for you to pick up some very well informed knowledge, I guess would be the best way to put it. So
yeah, absolutely. And anyone watching, or, you know, that watches this back in a couple weeks, months, if you guys ever have any questions or want to pick my brain, or just, you know, what do I do next? You know, both Scott and Brad have my contact, my email, my phone number. So, you know, I'm always happy to, you know, help out in any way that I can. So reach out to them, and, you know, I'd be more than happy. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks for that. Brad, anything you want to close up on?
Nope, just want to say thank you in advance to Shane, because I talked to him already last week about doing seminars. So, you know, we're always excited. That's one big advantage that we have with these being virtual. It's not as inconvenient for him, because what he did before, he would fly in and see family, but then he'd have to take a day to not spend with his family while he was out here. So this works out a little bit better.
Now Shane, make sure you have Brad send you one of those limited edition Iowa whistles that went out to the seminar instructors that you haven't seen. So we have some new engraved limited edition. I didn't let the cat out of the bag there, did I, Brad?
Nope. We were planning on trying to figure out how.
Okay, very good.
I'll keep my eye out for it,
yeah,
for sure.
Limited edition. They're very cool. So you
That's
definitely
awesome.
want to get one of those, so you can have that for your little bag of memories from Iowa. Yeah. All right, guys. With that being said, we will be back next Monday at 5:30 p.m. We do this every Monday Central Time. If you are so inclined and you want to buy Brad a new pair of headsets so he doesn't echo next week, buymeacoffee.com/refroom. We'll make sure that money goes to new headphones for Brad. So you got 3 fingers up? What's that? 3 pair?
That's 3 times that you've done it now.
Done what?
Stepped on it.
Stepped on what?
The headset thing. You keep throwing it at me. That's a.
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to get you a donation here. I'm trying to get these guys to help you out in your time of need. Our time of need, so we don't have echo.
Watch somebody Venmo me it,
Yeah,
like right
go
now.
direct.
I would.
All right. Too bad we can't have like a donate through Amazon or something like that for Brad to get him a pair of headphones. All right. All right, guys.
Put together a wish list.
Right. All right. We will see all of you next week. Brad will have his headset back, no echo, and thank you for doing this again, Shane. You're always welcome to come back and join us anytime. If you have something that comes up, you want to come back to the show and share it with us as you continue on your wonderful career journey, we'd love to have you.
Absolutely. Let's plan for a mid-season one when all the juices are flowing and situations are happening. Let's tentatively schedule something about mid-season. I'll definitely love to come back.
I like it. All right. Awesome. On behalf of Brad Baumruck, you can speak now, Brad. Wave in mute mode.
Have a good
Wave.
one. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll see you guys. We'll see you next Monday, everybody. Peace out from Chicagoland.